afternoon, good evening, or good morning, everyone. Welcome to the fifth session of ASEAN SDGs seminar series. My name is Aya Ono. I'm a junior program manager of the ASEAN-Japan Center, and I'll be the MC of the webinar today. This seminar series features a variety of topics that centers around the SDGs and ASEAN relevant to the field of impact investing. In our first seminar in May, we highlighted the potential of impact investing towards the SDGs in ASEAN, with Mr. Mason Tan coming from Garden Impact Fund as a case to illustrate ASEAN-based impact investment fund investing in ASEAN. In our second webinar in August, we had Realtech Holdings, which is a Japanese tech-based impact investor investing in deep tech startups in ASEAN. The third session showcased 3 successful businesses as impact investees in ASEAN, and the last session last month detailed social impact management and introduction of SDG impact standard. All of those videos are available on YouTube channel. And today we're very excited to bring you the 5th session on investing in impactful businesses in ASEAN from Japan, and we have a perfect speaker for this. Now, before we begin, we have some reminders for you. This webinar is broadcasted in both English and Japanese. If you're using a Zoom app on your phone or computer, please click on the icon that says interpretation to switch the language. This webinar today will have about 40 minutes of the speaker giving the presentation, and then we'll have about 15 to 20 minutes of the Q&A session. So if you have any question, please send them through via the chat box in Zoom. And finally, the presentation slides will be emailed to you once you complete the survey at the end of the seminar. So we'd very much appreciate your feedback. Okay, so that's about it for housekeeping. And now let me introduce Ms. Kono, Ms. Satoko Kono today. Ms. Satoko Kono is a founder and also the president of both Arun LLC and also Arun Seed, which is a not-for-profit organization. After graduating from the International Christian University, or ICU, Ms. Kono worked for a private corporation and Asia Institute. And since 1995, she has been involved in the restoration of and development aid for Cambodia through NGO. Also JICA and the World Bank that she has worked at. A meeting with a Cambodian social entrepreneur opened her eyes to the world of social finance. Ms. Kono has then established Arun in 2009, which is 12 years ago. Okay, without further ado, I would like to pass it on to Ms. Kono. Ms. Kono, the screen is yours.
Thank you very much for your kind introduction, Aya-san. Let me share my slide, just a second. Okay, do you see my slide?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. All right, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. And thank you, Aya-san and wonderful interpreters for interpretation. I will speak in English and then will try my best to do so because my language ability is probably limited. My title today is Investing in Impactful Business in ASEAN from Japan. I have a short video. I wanted to introduce this one to you just to show to feel some activities, but I realized that this is one of our field featured, which is India. So today's topic is ASEAN, So I hope that when you have a time, please see this video. This is on our website as well. So today's agenda, I will introduce briefly about myself and Arun. And then I want to go over briefly about what is impact investing. And then thirdly, I would like to introduce investment activities in ASEAN. And then fourthly, I would like to discuss, this is partly a question to all of you. I do not have an answer, but then I would like to discuss about role of impact investing with and after pandemic. Okay, briefly, myself, as Aya-san kindly introduced, we started Arun in 2009. Prior to that, I worked in Cambodia from 1995 to 2005. During that time, I was working with agencies like Japanese NGOs, JICA, and World Bank. All of them tried to support rebuilding the country, Cambodia, to came after the long time civil war. So during that time, I was the left top photo is in Phnom Penh. You can see not so many cars, but cyclos and bicycles are there. And then right top slide is ferry to cross the Mekong River. And then the bottom slides are showing some of the activities in Cambodia, mainly in healthcare, to talk about importance of maternal and child health and nutrition with mothers and children. So I was enjoying very much with the work, but then during my 10 years time, I see a very interesting development in Cambodia, which is emergence of social entrepreneur. The work I did is mainly with the poor people or in rural area, where most of the businesses, while most of the businesses is taking place in the big city like Phnom Penh. But some entrepreneur, social entrepreneur, are started to see the importance of business to rebuild the country and to empower the people. And through those entrepreneurs, I see the importance of investment, and I became to know about impact investment. That's why we established Arun in 2009. So Arun's vision is a society where all members live and enjoy the full range of their talents and abilities, regardless of background and economic status. Arun is the first impact investing firm in Japan to invest into developing countries. We do strategy and deal sourcing, and we do investment. After the investment, we conduct support. We often call hands-on support, that we work together with the entrepreneurs and to develop the business and to create impact. And during the investment, we do impact measurement and management, which was discussed in the last session. Our impact investment portfolio is across Asia. In ASEAN, we have Cambodia and Indonesia. And in other countries in India and Bangladesh, also we invest into social enterprises. In addition, we conduct a business competition called CSI Challenge, which over 300 social enterprises have been participated. The CSI Challenge, I will briefly mention that this is intended to create a platform of mutual collaboration and to create collective impact. So the impact is intended to produce not only by entrepreneur, but also with the investor and knowledge holder together. Okay, this is my introduction. Maybe I need to speed up a little bit. So what is impact investing? Maybe some of you are familiar with the impact investing, but let me go over briefly. So SDGs goal, leave no one behind, is a very, very important agenda and the base of our impact investment as well. So there is a gap in achieving these goals, which is told $2.5 trillion every year. And the impact investment is thought that it's an important tool to address this gap. Why? Because impact investment are investment made with the intention to generate positive, measurable social and environmental impact alongside a financial return. The important aspect of impact investing is summarized in 4 here. One is intentionality, that the intention to create, to generate positive, measurable social and environmental impact is the core. And then secondly, use evidence and impact data. And thirdly, manage impact performance. And fourth, everyone who are in the sector is contributing to the growth of the industry. The spectrum of impact investment is varied, so you can see a different variety of players are there. But our industry is thought to be steadily growing by investors. The current market size is estimated $715 billion, and which is growing year by year. From here, I will introduce using the GIIN, Global Impact Investing Network report published last year, 2020. So all the data is gathered during the February to April 2020. So it is like the beginning of the COVID-19. So the result is not necessarily affected the COVID-19 influence. But anyway, we see some of the status of impact investment here. This map shows the headquarter location of the impact investment organizations. As you can see, the dark blue is in US and Western Europe, which has 45% and 26% of respondent has a headquarter. You can see that Southeast Asia is 3%, which looks like small percentage. But in fact, if you see the trend of this, all locations other than US is increasing a little by little. So Southeast Asia, the ASEAN country, also increasing trend, we could say. The asset allocation by sector, the impact investment, which sectors investors invest. You can see on left bar is % of asset under management, and the right hand side bar is % of respondents. So you can see from the, in terms of asset under management, energy, financial services, forestry, food and agriculture, these are the attracted by large number, attracted large amount of asset. But then when you see the right-hand side, food and agriculture, healthcare, and energy are the one many investors are trying to invest. And asset allocations by geography of investment, you see that the development market like US, North America, and Europe has certain percentage, but then you see that the emerging market also about the half of the asset are allocated, and Southeast Asia is also growing. I would like to touch upon a little bit of the stage of business, because the large asset allocated to these mature and growth stage companies, while venture and seed and startup stage companies are there too. And today I am going to talk about the example of the social investment in ASEAN, but those are mainly these seed and startup stage and venture stage businesses. Okay, so the example of investment activities in ASEAN. I would like to introduce two cases today. One is a case in Indonesia. I would like to introduce a company called Duanyam. This company is a startup, led by a female entrepreneur, a team of female entrepreneurs. The company is trying to support rural women who is working and trying to build the family life there. The company especially targeted to the women artisans who are creating crafts, involving in a crafts industry in Indonesia. And the company started with the crafts supply chain business. And then as I introduced today, coming into the digital platform building, I know that to support those artisans and micro, small, and medium enterprises. Okay, the problem they face is the local artisans or female entrepreneur face is lack of year-round cash and lack of income options and lack of market access. So this social enterprise try to build the platform to solve these problems for women and to bring in economic empowerment of women using the existing skills and resources and build a platform for the further growth. By connecting these women skills and crafts to the market, average artisans' income is increasing 40%. And because of that, the benefit remain not only these artisans, but come to the family. So artisans' children's schooling and the nutrition and health status have been improving. But still, the company sees the gap in their needs. The social small entrepreneur have a lot of difficulties in fact in their businesses, like a production planning or poor logistics knowledge and the lack of cost and financial tracking. And these are very difficult to solve in one day. So the company tried to build the new feature because these problems are resulting into demand lost and profit lost. So in order to solve these problems, the digital platform is trying to introduce to the female artisans. And this platform is made with the local languages and covers order management, from order management to inventory management, production planning, and cost tracking. And easily usable features women can use in rural area too. And it's intended to create the access to market and access to financing and the logistics support. Also, using this platform, the company trying to provide the business training to the women entrepreneurs in collaboration with the government. So as a result of that, this is the initial result, but the women's business can speed up and their income is increasing. So because their business efficiency is improved and they could track their businesses in real time. Okay, the next example is Myanmar. This company is trying to work on sustainable agriculture ecosystem. In Myanmar, the account of GDP 30% is by agriculture, and they have a significant use of mobile phone by Myanmar population and farmers. So they try to create using this opportunity, try to create the digital farm recording system, which can be easily accessed by farmers and easily see the profit and loss by farmers. The features are kindly designed for farmers, starting from agriculture techniques and knowledge provision, and then gradually expanding to livestock and fishery techniques. They have a unique feature of Q&A with the professionals so that the farmers can ask their questions and answered by professionals through mobile phone very easily. The new features are digital marketplace and farm recording system. So I'm going to talk about farm recording system. The recording system can help to record the every step of farming process. And it provides the traceability and it provides the opportunity to enhance their business and reduce their travel costs. The features are used in variety of stakeholders, over 200,000 farmers, but not only farmers, livestock experts and agri experts are helping farmers through platform. Also, through the e-commerce features, agri input shops and agricultural companies are joining this platform and use this features and interact with farmers. The company has a plan to create more women-friendly features and create AI, artificial intelligence, for detecting the pest, disease, and quality sorting. Also, connecting with the microfinance institutions and local financial institutions to create the loan request features for farmers. So they have a good prospect of business. However, as you know, the political situation in Myanmar influence the people a lot, and of course to the entrepreneurs. This is a quote from an entrepreneur from Myanmar. In Myanmar, coup on top of COVID kills most social businesses in Myanmar. And we are barely surviving and rebuilding the company. Some entrepreneurs said that we are hopeless. We are hopeless, and then they talk about the future, they talk about the business development. So in the hopeless situation, those social entrepreneurs trying to rebuild the life, rebuild the business, and rebuild the country. I'm sorry. So my last part, role of impact investing with and after COVID-19. As all of you know, that COVID-19 impacted heavily on all of us, but then especially for the poor. So the poverty is increasing after this COVID-19 situation. And we are doing a survey with entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs, which is not completed, unfortunately, so I cannot show you the result today. But then entrepreneurs are answering that effect of the COVID, like negative or both positive and negative, because of the social distancing or difficulties in financial mobilization and business opportunity loss. Various reasons are there. So in this situation, what impact investment could do is my last question to all of you. In the report of Global Impact Investment Network 2020, that one section talks about catalytic capital. What is catalytic capital? I would like to show you the quote from John from MacArthur Foundation. Catalytic capital structures investments that accept disproportionate risk and or concessionary returns relative to conventional investment in order to generate positive impact and enable third-party investment that otherwise would not be possible. This can include debt, equity, and guarantees along with investment instrument. The same report talks about types of catalytic capital, which is debt, grant, equity. For example, invest in fragile states or untested business models, and subordinated fund guarantees. You can see the variety of catalytic capital already provided by different impact investors. And the reason of impact investors provide catalytic capital is, interestingly, first reason is innovation. Catalytic capital is needed due to the novelty of the business model, financing model, or target market. So this is a very cutting edge or forefront line of the business as well as investment, but investors believe that this will encourage the innovation, and this will support the innovative acts. The second reason is that early stage catalytic capital is needed to build a meaningful track record or adequate scale at the investee level. And third, population. This is very important in terms of the SDGs goal, I think. Catalytic capital is needed to reach underserved stakeholders. And of course, the business models and the places are highlighted with the risk. So as you can see, that impact investing could be very innovative and could be very, very equity oriented investment as well. At the same time, the impact investment is seeking to have a both positive and measurable social and environmental return alongside the financial return. So you can see this a very interesting mixture, and also the emergence of the importance of the impact investing. For us, we try to support the entrepreneurs under the COVID-19 situation. So introducing a little bit briefly about our activities related to this. So last year, we tried to support entrepreneurs under the COVID-19, especially working on the children, women, and refugees affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. As a result, over 100 companies from 26 countries, including ASEAN, apply to the business competition. We see that the increase of the women entrepreneurs. Today, both Indonesia and Myanmar example from female entrepreneurs. And we see that the characteristics of impact investing, even under the COVID-19. One is digitization. As you see that our two examples today both use digitization. And second, inclusiveness for women, children, farmers. And three, social impact. Four, innovation in business model. And five, importance of ecosystem in impact investing. So for the going forward, some of the questions I would like to address, as I mentioned that with the COVID-19 and after the COVID-19, what kind of role we could play in impact investing. I think this is relevant to ASEAN countries as well. So first point is whose voice is and is not heard. We as an investor, we have an investment policy, and in the investment field, investors' voice is important. But then whose voice is really hard? We need to come back and we need to reflect on that. Is it entrepreneur's voice, or is it the people's voice in the field, or is it investors' voice? And in order to hear the voice of people, in order to serve the theme of no one left behind, whose voice we need to hear. We need to be mindful always. The second is which sector or which issues to be invested. In this presentation, I introduced some of the sectors invested by Impact Investment Fund. But maybe you can notice that some of the field are not much favored by investors. So when we think about equity investment or equality in investment, in impact investing, we need to see that the sectors which are not very much taken or forgotten field, we need to pay attention to. The third, scalability and exit. So in dealing with these countries, especially in impact investing for the vulnerable or for the population, which is important to fulfill the no one left behind theme, we need to deal with the complexity in cause and solution and the process of solving the problem. So do we always go for scalability, or what kind of exit we could foresee in investment? We need to be mindful on that. And the fourth, ecosystem building is important. And the fifth, impact measurement and management is important. It's not, this is the last point, but it's not the least. It is a very important point, I think. Okay, and especially about the area, the vulnerable area, I added this slide because we have some countries affected by the conflict, even in Southeast Asia. And we need to see in vulnerable area or conflict affected area, we need to be careful on creating jobs and fostering economic inclusion, documenting human rights abuses, and promoting reliable journalism. In new feature, as a new trend, there is a conflict early warning systems, or peace tech is coming to this area too. So we are interested in welcoming this new technology in order to build equitable society and protect the human rights of the people. All right, I think time is up. So thank you very much for listening to my presentation. And I will hand over to Aya-san. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Kono, for such a wonderful presentation. It was really, really interesting, and I personally found it so, inspiring too at the same time. Thank you so much. It was also great to see the reminders of impact investment definition, current market size, pre-COVID, I suppose, and also the asset allocations. And also, I think the big theme in this impact investing space currently starts with digitization. And I think digitization enables, but at the same time is driven, I think, in the current market. And thank you also for touching upon the catalytic capital, which is really interesting. Thank you also for mentioning about the peace tech, the post-conflict context at the same time in terms of impact investment. That was also one of the questions that I had. Yeah. Okay, thank you. We have several questions, partly pre-raised, and then also two coming through the Q&A function, and also one coming via the chat box. So we will go through the, I suppose, 4 questions, which I am going to now share here. Right. Okay. So the first question is this: what do the investees in ASEAN wish to seek from Japanese government? What do you think they wish to seek from Japanese government and companies aside from investment capital?
Thank you very much for the questions. As I said that when we do the interview with the entrepreneurs, their number one interest is financial support. The entrepreneur is always looking for the capital to support their business and to bring in the impact. But besides that, interestingly, they mentioned that the human resources, technology, business partners, and market access or marketing are also features by them. So I think that all those opportunities are not only from the investors, but then the government systems or the government schemes, as well as Japanese companies could provide. And I think the expectation to the Japanese companies, the corporation, is quite high in terms of business partner, as a business partner, or market access collaborators. I would like to hear your opinion, the audience opinion too, if it is, matches your expectation or not.
I suppose the audience, if you would like to join the conversation, please feel free to. You can also join the conversation through the chat box as well. Okay, thank you. I'm afraid I'll just have to move on. Right. Have you had any values conflict when you make investments, investment decisions? And if so, in what kind of circumstances, and how did you go about it? And I'd also like to just point out this question coming through the chat box. What is the acceptable level of return of investment for you? And that might be a bit relevant to this question.
Okay, thank you very much. I think I will answer first with the second question. In the survey, done by Global Impact Investing Network I introduced today, over majority of investors, like 67% of investors are expecting over market return, adjusted market return rate. And some are saying that they could accept the below market return. So I think the idea of impact investment is growing because it is not necessarily compromising the financial return. So it is very important that the debate whether the social return or financial return, which is important, or this is like how do you call it? The you can take it one or another. It's not like that. So the current trend is to seek both financial return and social and environmental impact, positive impact. Having said that, as ourselves are very targeting to very early stage companies, we try to see the potential of the company and try to be as patient as possible. So we look for, especially as an NPO, we have NPO entity, and so we have a patient capital, so to speak. So we try to take a longer horizon of the time and try to support the entrepreneur's vision to be fulfilled. Of course, the entrepreneur's vision is to grow business and to bring in more impact. So we do not compromise the financial return, but then we are taking a longer time to fulfill that. We are ready for that. Yes.
Thank you. So when you say patient capital is a type of capital that takes long-term risk and return.
Yes.
Okay.
But I would like to emphasize here is that there are a variety of impact investment type. So the misconception of impact investment only look for the lower financial return is not right. I mean, is wrong. So there are a variety of types of impact investment. But at the same time, as I mentioned at the end of the presentation, equality and equity in impact investing is again very much discussed among the impact investors, especially in this COVID-19 pandemic situation, and also the rise of the different situation, the conflict situation in the world. And investors are really seriously discussing how to deal with the situation as an investor. So catalytic capital is one of them. And I hope that some of you might be interested in this. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to the next one. The third question is, looking at the landscape of impact investing for the last 12 years, what do you think Japan needs to build in building the ecosystem of impact investing and towards ASEAN SDGs?
This is very good question. I think a few months ago, the deep tech, the investment as impact investing is introduced by Real Tech Holdings.
Yes.
It was fascinating, I think, presentation, and I think that's the one field that's really growing, and it is yeah, it is very much hope that these technology can support people's well-being in ASEAN as well as in Japan. I would like to add, so I really appreciate that direction very much. And today, that's why today I would like to add another feature that the catalytic capital or equity investing side of impact investing. In the global agenda today, climate change is a big agenda. And of course, COP26 is, some say successful, some say unsuccessful, but everybody agree that this is a big agenda and pressing needs to tackle with. But we don't stop there. The climate change, the environmental issue is just the beginning of the new, business or a new way of dealing with the society and financial interaction as well. And I think the human rights is another big agenda that we need to tackle. And I think many legislation and the new systems are discussed in globally on the human rights issue and how the investment could respond to this human rights issue is very, I think, important agenda. I hope, yes. And in order to do that, I think the idea of one is deep understanding of the situation and the background and the complexity of it is very much essential. The things are not so simple as some of the technology does. So we need to tackle this complex situation and that be ready to face it. And in order to do that, maybe our financing mechanism, the investment theme also need to be adjusted. It does not necessarily result into the compromising your financial return or impact, of course. But then the way to measure, way to manage those things need to be probably adjusted or to be created. So I think the impact investment from now on for Japan, there are a lot of space for improvement, I think. Not only that impact investing is becoming a norm, but also to go beyond and to be more and more innovative and to be more and more to be able to serve to the people in need. And I hope that will be possible in Japan.
Thank you. You partially answered the next question, which is that in the field of impact investing that you're working in, what do you wish to see changed or improved in the post-COVID world? I think you have just answered that. We have 3 questions coming through via the chat, not Q&A function here. We'll go through the first one. Okay, so the first one says that the applications that use the mobile phone, so these applications are wonderful initiatives, but what is the reason why the farmers cannot, the business or the applications cannot really spread across farmers in the country?
Cannot spread across?
Yeah, So it's in the Q&A function.
Okay.
The first question is asking the reason why these wonderful applications on the mobile phone cannot really spread across farmers in the country.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for your question. I think this one is that marketing. I think I know that reach out to the people, you still take a lot of effort to reach out to the farmers. We understand that there are a couple of similar features, but then the company is growing the coverage but then the reach out to the people in remote area is not it takes some effort, both digitally but also with the human features. So with the COVID-19 and after with this current situation in the country, it is not easy to access to the people. Secondly, I think that the current situation really gave the big damage to the business existence itself. So the business itself is trying to survive and trying to keep the services for the farmers. So it's like how do you say? Yeah, I think entrepreneur or business itself has a survival level. So it's a slow down a little bit of the service expansion.
It's more about prioritizing what's important.
Yeah, and yes, and also, but then I think because of the needs of the market, these needs of the application or technology is increasing actually in this situation. So I think entrepreneurs are trying to really fight on this situation.
Thank you. I think we have time just for one more question. The second question is also from the same person. Thank you. How do you close the gap between what's seen as investable project and what is not investable from the eyes of investors? Because it can also, one of the key characteristics in impact investment is also about capacity building of social entrepreneurs.
本当にね。Yeah, this is a very good question, I think, especially for the seed stage and early stage entrepreneurs and investors. I think for us, we have advantage investing from Japan, but at the same time, we need the local network to support entrepreneurs. So we collaborate with the local expert and local ecosystem in each countries and work with the stakeholders on the ground. Also, we often invest in a company with the other investors, including the local investors. So collaboration among the investors are very, very important to support, to create the supporting environment to the entrepreneurs. Both, I think, mentally and technically and organizationally, in addition to the business.
Thank you. Thank you. There's always a conflict of how we can balance the two. Okay. Thank you. And I'm afraid it's about time to wrap up this fifth session of this seminar. So if you have any further questions to Ms. Kono, please feel free to send me an email. The contact was in the webinar brochure. So please feel free to send that through to me, and then we can make sure to answer your question. Okay. So thank you very much, everyone, for staying on until the end of this seminar. We hope you found it useful for your business endeavors and beyond. So we have our next session currently in the planning stage. So we have one more, when we have more concrete details, we will share that with you via our newsletter. And I would also like to remind you that the presentation slides used today will be emailed to those of you who have completed the survey questionnaire. So we'd very much appreciate your feedback. We hope you found you really enjoyed the seminar today. So this is it. Ms. Kono, thank you so much once again for joining the seminar today, and a wonderful presentation. Thank you. Okay, so we look forward to having you all again in our next seminar series, and wishing you all the good remainder of the week. Please take care. Thank you.
Thank you.